Hi everybody, welcome back to Bearded Reef. My name's Ross. This video is going to be slightly different from my normal videos. We're going to actually take a drive over to Nessie's lair, which is my local fish shop, have a look around, speak to Jamie who owns the shop and find out a little bit about it. So this will be a little tour of Nessie's lair and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So let's go. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, you've joined me on a sunny day here in Scotland, which is a bit unusual for us, but this is the Queen's Ferry crossing that goes over the Firth of Forth. This is just north of Edinburgh, so this is if you're heading from the south towards Nessie's lair, this is the way to get there. I've added this clip in as quite a few people have asked how to get there, how to get to Nessie's lair, what's the best way to go and so on. This is the way I go, this is from the south, so if you're coming this way, just follow this video and it'll keep you right. Hopefully this will help out anybody that's coming there. If you are local to it, or if you're even in the area, well worth popping in, having a chat with Jamie, speak to them, see what's in the shop, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to find something you'll like. So I do want to say a massive thank you to Jamie, not only for sponsoring the channel but for allowing me to come over and film this video. Really do appreciate it. Nessie's lair is my favourite LFS, I'm not just saying that, it genuinely is. I actually love this shop. I really like the way that they've done the shop. They've kept everything open, they've kept everything honest, nothing's hidden. You can see all the sump work, the filtration, everything underneath the tanks there, you can see them all. No secrets here, everything is really well done. So key focus is on fish, livestock, corals, cleanup crew and so on. That is their #1 priority. These guys will keep you right if you head over and look anyway. So yeah, that's us nearly there just now. Once again, massive thank you to Jamie, and now that that's us here, I will pass you over to him. Jamie can show you around and tell you what's what.
Hi folks, Jamie here from Nessie's lair. Here's a sneak peek into my shop. We've been open for just over a year now. In that time we've already moved premises. The new premises is much larger, more future-proof and modern. So yeah, let's dive right in and we'll show you around. So that's our SPS tank. It's part of a 1200 or so litre system, split with 2 different sumps. Both sides are UV'd. Essentially we've got 5 tanks, 1 for LPS, 1 for softies, 1 for SPS. We've also got another tank for anemones. And then the tank, which is being filmed right now, is essentially kind of like a holding tank, so any new stock that we get in, we pop in there, make sure that they're all dipped and stuff before we pop them into our other tanks. Coming onto the LPS tank now. It's probably the show of our coral table really. Some nice species in there. We do like to try and keep a variety of both colonies and frags, something for everyone's taste really. Torches are flowing away up the back there. We certainly go through a lot of them with the craze right now. You may have seen Ross's TK Master in his tank. Some tube nems, which we've got hiding in there. The only place we can keep them unfortunately at the moment. And that's our softy tank. Right now, not looking the most stocked up due to some issues with the Vietnam permits at the moment. But we hope to get that stocked back up over the next few weeks. And then that's moving on to our nem tank. Big long tentacle at the front in the cage there, and a bunch of bubbles in the tank at the moment with our pair of black Ocellaris. So as you can see, it's double tiered, mainly to try and save some room. But yeah, that's our corals. And these are our little triple tier Aqua Nanos. So they run as basic as you like a nano to run, really, kind of similar to Ross's Nano. No fancy filtration or anything on there, no skimmers, anything like that, just a simple hang on the back sump and a surface skimmer. Gives us all we need for that tank. We run a prime over the top, an old prime, not the HDs, and we run 2 blue bars, one front, one back, just to accentuate the colours for viewing pleasure. All the corals in there do really well. It's a really low maintenance tank. You may see the odd little clump of chlorpa popping up on some of the rocks. That is due to just the low maintenance side of that tank, but all the corals love it. As you can see, we've got some seahorses, some Banggai cardinals, a few little interesting inverts, pair of the blue dwarf boxer shrimps in there, one of the urchins, which is currently running around with a few of our zoas on its head, so we'll be swapping that out for a hat soon. And then the middle tank is, at the moment, nothing in it, but that is pending to be our new LPS Nano. So like I say, the first one was just softies only, this one will be for LPS. We've popped a couple of tubes in there under the sand for some pistol, shrimp and goby pairs we're popping in there. So the plan with this tank is Yasha gobies, whitecap gobies, loads of nano fish, some little pygmy wrasses, and torches, hammers, frog spawns, bubbles, goniporas, and a bunch of chalices is pretty much going to be the mainstay of that tank. This tank's probably going to take a little bit more effort than the softy, but again, it shouldn't be too much more difficult. The SPS, which is essentially the one at the top, that's going to be built up for our SPS Nano. So as you can see, it's got a different filter on the back. That's one of the Seachem tidal filters. So it's essentially kind of like an all-in-one. As you can see, some of the other tanks we ran surface skimmers, but the benefit with the Seachem tidal is they come with an inbuilt surface skimmer already on the filter, so one less plug to worry about. So yeah, that's currently running through an RO cycle just now. We'll pop some salt in there and hope to get the SPS one up and running, salted up, ready to go in the next few weeks. LPS will be added into the LPS tank over the next few days, along with some first inhabitants, and yeah, we'll take it from there. Hopefully we should get a nice little kind of stepped up nano rack. So here's a little sneak peek at essentially where the magic happens in our shop. This is kind of what everyone goes on about. We quarantine all our fish in this room for 2 weeks. They arrive, all the systems are sterilised, wiped down, fresh water, fresh everything before any individual batch of fish arrive. We don't mix batches from different localities, so we'll only pop Indonesian fish with Indonesian fish, so one supplier to one rack sort of thing. And they'll spend their first 2 weeks of their life in aquariums in this room, and this is where we will treat for antibacterial and parasitic infections. They essentially get one of our homemade concoctions, which was sort of built between me and a few other guys with the help of some others. So we're pretty confident we have the quarantine procedure as good as we can. Like I say, 2 weeks they get zapped for all their bits and bobs with our concoction. Some of the products unfortunately we can't get in the UK, so we do have to import these products to treat our fish. Yeah, so we'll get all sorts of stuff in here. Right now, sort of Sri Lanka batch. That one's Indonesia. The one over the side there is Manila from Philippines. So after the fish have finished their 2 weeks in quarantine, we remove them out in the buckets. We drip them into this system, which we call our Acclimation Station. Essentially, it's where we monitor fish for a further week after they've had their treatments, just to ensure that fish are healthy, that we've done our job right, and also that they're feeding well and they're at a substantial weight to be sold. So the fish will get moved over here, dripped in, and then we'll freshwater dip all our fish with an antibacterial before they go in here as a part of the process, the quarantine process. process, should I say. Then, like I say, one more week in here before they get moved into our sail tanks. So this is kind of the last stop. Essentially, they are kind of transferring system to system to system. So we feel, along with the quarantine procedure that we run, it's one of the most safest ways to offer our livestock up and be confident that there's certainly nothing to be worried about with them. This is usually quite a popular place for all our customers, walk-in customers that reserve species, anything particular that's in there that they've seen, maybe got their eye on. We allow customers to reserve from this point onwards, so anyone can essentially ask for one of the fish from here, pop their name on it, and when it's ready we will give them a call, let them know, and they get 7 days to then come and collect once we've moved it over to the sale systems. So yeah, quite a popular stop point for all our reservations. Certainly get some cherry pickers out of there. It's usually at the point that I update the website as well, so don't think that you're not getting first dibs. These are put on the website at the same time that people come in to see them. So yeah, it's usually a Thursday that they will get put on, and they would be available to ship out the next again week. So this is our sale system now. This will be the final stop that our fish make before they end up in your tanks at home. So this is essentially before the fish come out, before the fish get moved into the sale tanks, we freshwater dip them a second time. So this will be after the first one that they got when they were first moved into acclimation. So yeah, the fish are all dripped into the fish system, freshwater dipped one more time for good measure, and then they're popped in there. We usually do this on a Tuesday, as we are closed on Tuesday, Wednesdays, so it gives us time to mess the shop up, get fish moved around, and hopefully they're nice and settled by the time we open on the Thursday again. So yeah, it gives us a few days for our fish to essentially just settle into their new tank environment with all the stress they've had over the last 3 weeks. But as you can see in the video, the fish that are in our fish sale system are of utmost health. There's certainly some chunky ones in there, which is exactly what we strive to achieve. You know, fat, healthy fish that need little maintenance. So on the fish side, we try to cater for as much as we possibly can at the moment. So you may see some of the little small chambers which are split into three. They're essentially to section off some of our smaller nano species. This just gives us ease of capture when it comes down to it, and also stops us losing the fish in the larger tanks. We are in the process of slightly expanding our fish system to accommodate a small rack of nano tanks, which will be on the end of the fish system near the start of the fish system part there. So we'll be adding on, I think it's something around the area of 16 little 15 centimetre cubes. So these will be the ones which will contain all our nano species. So yeah, going forward we should certainly have a nice selection of nano species as well as the rest. We do try and pick out some more of the weird and wonderful species, shall we say. So there are some stuff here that you may see which you've maybe not even heard of or known existed. So I've got things like the reticulated stargazer, the emperor snapper, and these things are obviously species only tanks, or they get really large. Certainly some interesting stuff there if you're so inclined that way. I think one of my fortes is I do like the weird and wonderful, so if it's something that you're into, then we've certainly got you covered here. But of course we've also got all the usual, what we would class bread and butter, so stuff that sells really well. So yeah, as you can see, good all-round selection. A lot of the tanks are adequately filled with fish, shall we say. We certainly don't keep low stocks. We strive to keep high stocking densities, gives our customer a maximum choice. The fish system is ran by an independent sump over in the corner, which is a 500 litre open top sump. That is then also filtration wise in there. We have a fluidized sand bed filter, which is rated to 5,000 litres. We have a skimmer, which is rated to 10,000 litres. We also have a bank of UVs on there, mainly for water clarity, also to kill any sort of bacterias and things like that in the water, stops us getting any blooms. So we run that. That is essentially, along with a few filter socks, it's a pretty basic system. We essentially use kind of, you know, the good old rule that the best solution for pollution is dilution. So we run a lot of literage. The system's, you know, about 2,500 litres. So as you can see, all the equipment that we run on it is certainly overshot by a long way. But we feel it's the safest option. Usually is the norm in this hobby, is to overshoot your sizing on your equipment. So this is essentially the guts. So as you can see, a bit of a mess around there with all the wires and stuff like that, but obviously better around there than on the shop floor. So we have, as you can see in the video, we've got the sand bed filter, the skimmer, along with the big bank of UVs at the end. And then you'll see our sump in the distance as well, our big 500 litre sump. Our fish system is ran by one singular pump, which runs our skimmer, our sand bed filter, and feeds water into all of our tanks. We actually use a saltwater compatible pond pump made by Aqua. I think it's rated to around 20,000 litres. Comes with a little control box as well, so we can sort of increase or decrease the flow as needed. We find that when the sump runs lower, we need to increase the flow on it, and we find when it's full, we need to decrease it due to the pressure coming through the pipes and the height of the water in the sump. So this is another system that we have, our cleanup crew station invert system. We have 4 larger tanks, 4 medium tanks. The larger ones are around sort of 100 odd litres. The mediums are around sort of 60, 70. And this is also plumbed up to some nano racks, which we'll see in a second. But right now we're going through essentially what is our cleanup crew tanks, which are nice and filled at the moment. So we've got everything from left-handed hermits, dwarf hermits, Halloween hermits, conches, all varieties of conches. We've got silver, we've got dwarf fighters, we've got strawberries, Nasserus snails, serif snails, peppermint shrimps, cleaner shrimps, fire shrimps, trochus snails, some stupendously huge turbos along with some smaller ones, and some ninja astrea snails. Generally pretty much all the basis of the cleanup crew covered on that one. Coming into the nano racks now, so this is kind of where the more interesting little creatures will be. So anything that we've got is a little bit weird and wonderful, or that we maybe have to section off from everything else. So you'll see we've got some cooking thalia, cleaner shrimps, and there's our last arrow crab. We've also got a little blue striped pipefish you may have just seen a minute ago as well in there. So we've got some anemone shrimps, anemone crabs, the Caribbean cleaner shrimps, the pedersons, mantis shrimps. That's our yellow mantis. He's one of the grabbers as opposed to one of the boxing clubbers. We've got, you may see I have a mantis issue. We have another mantis here who's a little bit feisty. He usually comes out to play. He usually knocks the glass when we're here. And we've got some yellow sea cucumbers and with some more anemone crabs, different species of anemone crab. These sea cucumbers are filter feeders, not sand sifters. There's another mantis shrimp at the end. So as you can start to see, there are a few mantis shrimp in store. They're all different varieties. We only have one type of mantis that we have two of. We've got some stuff that you may not be able to see, mainly because they may be really small. So we might have some Randall's pistol shrimps in these tanks, pairs of Randalls. There's a little blue boxer at the end there as well, hiding down there. And then down the bottom, we've got again some more Randall's pistols. We've got a big lonely pistol on its own, a big grey pistol. We're unsure of the species of that exact one actually. It came in as a sort of random shipment. Some bumblebee snails, harlequin shrimps. We've got a bumblebee hermit in there as well, which we had to section out from the bumblebee snails. Then we're coming on to our two peacock mantis now. So this one is the female, and we are hoping to try and match these up pretty soon. In the middle we've got a few more anemone shrimp, and then this is on to our big guy at the end. So this is probably our prize mantis. This is a big male. We've already successfully sexed both. So we're pretty confident they are male and female. We're just hoping that we can maybe get these two in a larger tank with some sand and see what comes of it really. So yeah, mantis shrimp, certainly one of the more interesting creatures out there. Obviously, as a lot of you may already know, they're certainly not an invert that you're going to be popping into your reef tank. They will certainly cause a lot of carnage, including upturning corals and eating all your fish. But for little species only tanks, they're certainly one of the most interesting sea creatures out there, aside from octopus. So this is one of our big displays in the front dry goods room. This isn't going to be sitting here permanently. It is kind of a temporary place for it at the moment. We are looking to swap that out for a larger tank. Right now this one is 6 foot long, 180 centimetres, and it's 80 centimetres wide and 50 centimetres tall. We'll be swapping this out for 180 centimetre or 6 foot long and 120 or 4 foot wide, and we're going up to 2 foot tall. So I think we'll be looking at about 1400 litres there around. This tank will be getting moved into another location in this room, and it is kind of destined to be our predator tank. So right now we've got a female Epaulette Shark, which we're hoping to at some point find a mate for. We've got a large yellowfin surgeonfish or tang that was handed in to us by one of our customers who was changing up some tangs in his tank. Nothing to do with outgrowing his tank, just looking to get some new fish in there. So we said we would pop her in with a shark, and she seems to be doing great. She's still a baby at the moment though. So this is our shop mascot, and this is our Epaulette Shark. Nice little chunky guy. We've had her for around 10 months or so now. Certainly become part of the furniture. So she's, as you can imagine, not for sale. She is a shop pet, but it's something that we can get in for people which are dedicated and looking to get into this sort of side of the hobby. So yeah, all you got to do is just ask. So this is another one of our displays. This won't be moving, so this is staying where it is. The fish, however, inside will be changing. So at the moment we've got 6 of our Marcia's antheas, certainly one of the most popular antheas that we sell. Compared with any other anthea, they are absolute night and day. You could kind of compare these things to little ravenous piranhas. They're certainly not shy around food. They'll take larger food items. And they've also got beautiful colours. The male will swallow dive for the females when he gets excited, So certainly a fish which holds some visual impact in your tank, shall we say. So they have been moved into there yesterday. Unfortunately, we had to do a bit of moving around to move the shark and the big fish into the bigger tank, which the Amphias were originally in. This tank is destined to be a Moorish idol display. So the plan with this tank is we're looking at maybe somewhere between sort of 10 and 20 Moorish idols, more likely nearer to 20 to kind of spread out the aggression. Just essentially idols on their own, no other fish. Bare bottom ideas that we can feed pellets. And yeah, so this is going to essentially be our showcase for the Moorish idols. It's something that we are quite proud of, that how we can kind of pull Moorish idols from the right locations and get them into healthy fish, you know, ready for tank life. We find that we get a lot more success with Moorish idols than we do copper bands, but that's just purely through years and years of research. So yeah, Moorish idol display coming up. That should be an interesting one. And then this is kind of like the limited dry stock area at the moment. You'll see it does have some empty shelves as we kind of got some new shelving, and we're looking at kind of expanding our dry stock. We'll hopefully be starting to stock things like reactors, pumps, wave makers, maybe some lights, bits and bobs, auto top-ups, all the essential sort of electricals, skimmers, etc. Right now we do 2 brands of the dosing methods. We do Quantum and we do Reef's Lemons, so we only offer one or the other. We try to leave as much of the confusion out of the equation as we possibly can for the customer. So essentially we have 2 options, a 3-part or a 2-part, and we keep it nice and simple that way. You'll find some bits of food, all sorts of little like random bits and bobs will be hanging around here. We've got our aqua ceramic rocks, so these are made from a company over in Poland who then drive them over to us. So we get all sorts. We've got a massive brochure for these, all sorts of sizes. Some really good value for these rocks. Seaweed clips, and then we're going down onto kind of aqua print. We did get our aqua print order in, and yes, certainly I am more than happy with the quality of these guys. They have thought pretty much of everything you can. We're not going to be getting any rusty magnets with these guys, I can tell you that much for sure. And then we've also got our newly produced merchandise, so kind of insulated drinks bottle, retro mug, coasters, hiking mug. We've got keyring and magnets as well, so these are all available in store as well. These will also be handed out to and fro on occasions on large orders or for giveaways, so keep a little eye out for them. We've got the live food fridge, so right now we just have a big batch of brine shrimp which came in. We will be getting copy pods next week. There was a mix up with our order this week unfortunately, so we got the wrong item. Phytoplankton and stuff in there as well. We'll also have any sort of food that's refrigerated from the day before. We always kind of make double the amount of food so it lasts us a few days.
So there we have it. That there, folks, is Nessie's lair. So I just want to say a massive thanks to Jamie again for taking the time to do that video, show us around, really show everything. I know a lot of you people have asked questions about the shop that aren't able to visit in person, so hopefully this will show you that. Like I say, I do really love the way that everything's open and honest here. You know, nothing's boxed in, nothing's hidden. It's all on show, so if you're there you can see everything. You can see the filtration, you can see how everything works, how clean everything is. Fantastic setup. I really like this way. A lot of shops will box in all their tanks so you can't see anything behind the scenes, but Jamie leaves his open so you can see everything, and I love that. I think it's great. So yeah, that really wraps this up for this video. I do just want to say again, massive thank you to Jamie. Really do appreciate you taking the time to show us around the shop. Really good. Hopefully that'll help you guys out at home as well to see where your livestock's coming from, coral fish and so on. So yeah, we'll wrap this up here. Don't forget you can use the code BeardedReef10 for 10% off at Nessie's Lair's website, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.